So my idea was this, that I want to do, I want to call it, let's say spotlight,
Yeah.
meaning I want to put a spotlight on you
Okay. Yeah.
as a guest.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about real estate.
Yeah.
Meaning, I don't want to talk about my job.
Yes. No,
All
I hear
right.
you.
If
Yeah.
you're in real estate, that's great. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
But let's say my idea is this, that I want to do local businesses,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where I sit down with, um,
Like the Rooster Cup coffee guys.
Rooster
For
Coffee,
example.
right?
Yeah.
And go, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Rooster Lady,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Tell us about you. Who are you? All right.
Yeah.
How did you,
How'd you start?
How'd you start?
Yeah.
All right. Tell us about your challenges, your struggles,
Yeah.
right? What'd you do before this?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And put the highlight on her.
Mm-hmm.
Let her share whatever she wants. She's
Yeah.
got some story,
Yeah.
all right? And we don't know what that is,
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah.
And there's so many businesses around locally
Yeah.
that in our community in Surrey and wherever, right, wherever we live,
Yeah.
that we look at them and go, I wonder how and why and
Yeah. It's interesting.
how did that uncle get into that business?
Yeah. Why does that uncle have a big ass fucking tower? Like mixed use building,
Sure.
52 units. Like how did that uncle look at that guy?
Yes.
How does he have that?
Yes.
I want to know that story.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
That's cool.
And there's a lot of people behind the scenes that they don't have storefronts and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good stories, I think. And when I talk to people and you just kind of go, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? And they're like, oh, I did this and I had to do this. And I remember when I was down in the States, we were talking to my wife's Thaya,
Yeah.
and he shared the story about like how they bought a convenience store. He came here from India, and he was the first one to come, and there was some family
Yeah.
that like hosted him, and they helped him get his get everything set up for like him become a permanent resident in
Yeah.
the States.
Yeah.
Then he eventually worked in a grocery store. Then he worked in a department store. Then he bought a grocery store. All right. And then he had to buy the building. He had to buy the building,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Because the landlord was going to sell it and the new landlord was going to get rid of his business.
Oh, wow.
All right. So he had
Yeah.
to figure out a way to buy the building. Right. And eventually, he's retired now.
Mhm.
Right. But he shared this whole story, and I was talking to him, like, how did you do all this stuff,
Yeah.
right? And he's like, and his wife's sitting there, and she's like, he didn't go to any functions. I had to, like he had no employees, 24/7.
Fuck.
Right?
Sacrifice, man.
Sacrifice.
Like crazy.
And she still complains about it, right?
Yeah.
He just goes, well, whatever.
Yeah.
You're lucky you have a life today, right?
Complain in your Range Rover, man. Or your Tesla, right? Oh,
Yeah.
my
So
God.
I was listening to his story. I'm like, sometimes you have those conversations at the coffee table.
Yeah.
That I want to bring sort of attention to those types of people and those types of stories.
Yeah.
All right, the good, bad, and everything. Right.
Yeah.
And then maybe even do video highlights of local businesses too,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
where I can take Swami or someone and we take a camera.
Yep.
We go to that business and we do a 10-minute like a good production.
Yep.
Of that business and go, hey Sim, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about mortgages,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
How long you been doing? Where do you guys established, right?
Yeah.
What makes you guys different, and so on and so on. And we do like a 10-minute snippet.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be once a week or something like that. We bring different businesses to our
Spotlight.
audience. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's very important, especially here where you are. Like, you guys don't even have to go far. You could walk down the street,
Yeah.
knock on the door. Hi, want to introduce myself?
Yeah.
Cool. We're realtors. In addition to that,
Yeah.
this is what we do.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear more about you.
Yeah.
Walk on over.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
That's a thought.
Yeah.
Podcast is going to be something a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Where you connect with someone out there.
Yeah.
And let's say somebody wants to do that.
Yeah.
And they go, yeah, 10 minutes.
No
record
problem.
my video.
Yeah.
You guys blast it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all for that.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't want the attention?
Yeah.
And the podcast could be something that we go, hey, that's a really cool story. Why don't you come in?
Come in.
Would you mind sharing a little bit more?
Yeah.
Or you connect with someone.
Yeah.
And then this could be the second tier.
Makes sense.
I don't know.
No, that's what it should be. I
Yeah.
feel like that's, even when we started the Simcast, that's what our thing was. Hey, let's just talk about someone doing something cool.
Yeah.
Where we can either help bring awareness to it,
Mm-hmm.
or, yeah, like that's kind of where it started, and then you slowly build off that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And even having like interviewing people. There's so many places, man. Like, and that's how you get that. You become almost like a local. You really like become part of the community. by doing that. I remember Gary Vee like a couple years ago. He's like, "Hey, the quickest way to do this and figure it out." He's like, "Go interview your mayor of the town. Go talk to like the local high school football teacher or coach. Go talk about, hey man, why is this pothole still here on 132 and 80th? Bullshit." Like you start doing stuff like that, because I remember when he promoted it, he's like, people, we overthink sometimes, and we're just like, hey, I wonder. We overthink. We think, what are people gonna think? We think everything. We think, okay, cool. Let me figure out A to Z before we start. For me personally, that's how I operate. But it's like, no, you don't have to be up here. Just do a bunch of shit, and it always works out. It's interesting enough, right?
Are you guys doing your podcast regularly?
We've wrapped up season 1.
Okay.
So season 2 will start in mid to end of January 2020.
So the podcast is Simcast, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's you and Sim Sai.
Yeah.
Right. And so the idea with that is that you guys highlight and talk to local
people.
Yeah.
For the most, everyone that we've spoken to is local. Some they were local, now they're abroad.
Okay.
But kind of talk about what the challenges they went through. Most of them have been either athletes or entrepreneurs in one form or another. So you just talk about how things were when they started, what challenges they saw, what things they learned, something they could share with someone, and just kind of, bring awareness to what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Right? Some people, for some of our guests, the awareness was a bigger, we wanted to bring more awareness. Others were kind of like, yeah, the awareness is cool, but we just want to get in and bring and ask questions and like learn things on our own too, right? Just kind of go in depth in someone's story. Sometimes people's stories are really, the story is what brings the awareness,
right?
Versus the service that they're doing.
So when you say awareness, like awareness to their,
it could be their business, could be their cause,
mm-hmm.
could be their industry,
mm-hmm.
it could be challenges they went through, like if they're women in breaking through, or someone breaking through a new barrier, doing something that someone that looks like them hasn't done, at least locally, and then they can kind of use that as an example where we could distribute that and share that with other people who it could potentially
did you guys have that thought that this is what we wanted to do from the beginning, or did it evolve, or what was the kind of journey behind that?
Regarding that, that was our intention. It was kind of like we all we wanted to do was interview people, bring people out here or together and discuss, like similar to what you want to do, what everyone's doing essentially is hear their story, get the ups, get the downs, bring awareness to it through sharing it on our social networks or our overall networks. And that was kind of the intention. We kind of left it as like a rough skeleton, mm-hmm. and then pivoted if we needed to, like went a little bit left, went a little bit right based on the guest. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So do you guys enjoy it?
That's so much fun.
Is it?
It's nice. The hard part is just starting, like figuring out, like, hey, are we recording properly? How come only one of the audio, the left audio is working and the right one isn't? Right? Check. Oh, I'm assuming we're on now, right?
Yes.
I didn't realize. Yeah.
No, we're on.
No, that's cool. But that's how
officially.
Yeah, officially, we're on the spotlight. This is sweet. And that's kind of how it started.
Okay.
And then our issue has been being consistent so far.
Okay.
Just with life and stuff happening and not having a concrete environment or one place that we're consistently using.
Yeah.
And those are things that we kind of worked on, and now we found that we're using Sim's office.
Yeah.
Their boardroom.
Yeah.
And then they just got the table and a few other things, but maybe about a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And he was in a big transition with his work, and like life happening and stuff like that. So I think we have 10 episodes. So that was our season 1, and we'll kind of wrap that up and start season 2 in 2020.
So how did you link up with Sim?
I met Sim in my when was it? I might have been about 20 years old. So about 12, 13 years ago.
Okay.
Around then. He was introduced to me. So a friend of mine introduced me to Sim and Sanj.
Okay.
And we kind of hit it off from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how do you guys decide that, hey, let's do this together? Other than the names? I think he didn't know what he was doing, and he thought I'm younger, so this guy can kind of figure out the tech side. Yeah. But I'm not tech
I'm not tech savvy.
Did you find that out after?
He found that out after. Yeah, when he's like, why are our videos not up? Are we on iTunes? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, we're on iTunes, and we're not. Like, I think maybe 2 episodes are on right now.
Sure.
But don't quote me there. And then I don't know. We just realized that it's a good way to. It's kind of fun. Like it's a nice like decompression or like non-work related activity that you could do that is still aligns with our overall, not work, but overall like lifestyle, I guess you could say.
Okay.
So I think we just started just to start. It's like another medium essentially, right? We're like, we all got email, everyone's got Facebook, Instagram, and podcasting. Like Gary Vee was just hyping that, hey, you got to get on podcast because it's the future. Or at that point now, it's like the most common way to learn stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because you can multitask. You can listen to a podcast when you're driving.
Yeah, totally.
So, you know.
What's the feedback that you guys have got from people?
It's funny because a lot of people, they've seen us talk about it, or they've seen us share our stuff on Instagram, and they're always messaging, hey, I love your guys' podcast. And I'm like, what the fuck? We haven't even posted this one, right? So people, because they know it, people are nice.
Yeah.
So they'll say, good job, it's nice. And sometimes people will get caught. We don't say anything, but they're just like, oh, I love that episode. And I'm like, oh, we haven't even posted it. But I don't say that. Right. And I'm like, oh, thanks for the support.
Yeah.
And I tell Sim, and we just laugh about it. We're like, oh, man.
So meaning that they're talking about somebody that you interviewed, or
no? Yeah, they'll say, "Oh, that was an awesome episode with Surrender," and we're like, "Oh, we haven't even put it up. We just did a couple of snaps about putting it up, so we had yet to put it up."
Yeah.
So just for example, right?
Right.
So it's just nice.
No, it's good.
It's funny. So that's kind of, the feedback is good. I think sometimes for me, I feel like, and I don't know if Sim's like this too. I think he is like that too, but we try to do things like properly. Like he's more of a perfectionist than I am.
Right.
Like he is actually way more than I am. I think he can dispute that if he wants. But sometimes we overanalyze things in our head, and it's like, yo, who cares? Like I don't even think my wife's listened to any of the Simcast episodes. So it's like, you know, be humble. Understand that like we're just starting.
Yeah.
We're not here to hit a home run. It's more so to understand that if you do this long term, it'll have an impact, but you shouldn't really expect results initially.
Right.
But we don't even know how to quantify results because, like, how do you do that? It's just listeners, I guess. But, you know, we could see the views on YouTube. So YouTube and Facebook are where they're at.
Okay.
But what we noticed was what's helped is when we cut those, like, let's say you have an hour episode, cut it into like 3 or 4 of the best parts, and then put that as the headline and make it into like an 8-minute video.
Okay.
Kind of like what Joe Rogan does. Like that's how I consume a lot of Joe Rogan, is just random YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't watch his whole 3 or 4 hours per interview unless I know the guest and I really want to learn more about it.
Yeah.
But I noticed that when you condensed it and you made it easily accessible.
Yeah, you snip it down. Like 5 minutes, 8 minutes or something like that. Right?
Those were the ones that got the most views and then therefore feedback. But everyone's feedback's been pretty good.
So did you guys find challenges with guests, or what's that experience sort of been like of lining up somebody to talk to?
In regards to challenges with our guests themselves, no.
Okay.
Because everyone's been awesome, everyone's been cool, everyone has their own story.
Yeah.
Our challenge has just been like more so being consistent with the actual production of it.
So you never had a challenge where you say, "Hey, I want you guys to be on my podcast," and people are like,
"No, not yet."
They want to?
Yeah, everyone that we've spoken to, yeah.
That's cool.
I feel like, because it's not like we're, there's really no, it's your time, which is important. Yeah. But if someone, like, I'm just trying to think of anyone, if someone had resistance, or I think the only thing could have been just scheduling.
Right.
Someone being busy, someone out of the country, someone not available.
Yeah.
I think that's the only challenges we've had.
So generally people are receptive and they want to share.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you guys, I've caught a couple episodes, definitely not the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you said that. No. Could you imagine if I didn't say that and you're like, oh, yeah. I listened to the first 4 episodes. You're like, oh, they're not even up. What busted you?
Yeah, I don't even know which one it was. You guys had one, I think, with Surrender at BC Prep.
Yeah, that was the first one.
That was the first one I saw.
Yeah, that was nice because that was a nice background.
Yes.
It actually, we had Carlos recording, like, while we're talking. It was nicely edited. It was nice. It was pleasant to look at.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And there was one I was watching. There was a couple of girls.
Mm-hmm.
They opened some business.
Yeah, Sleep Well.
Yes.
That was a really good episode. That was it's crazy to think how far that they've come.
Yeah.
Since then.
Yeah.
So we'll message each other once in a while on Instagram when someone posts something. It's been a while since we've connected, but that was a really good one. Very informative. I feel like I think I need to look into sleep apnea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of us have.
Yeah.
That we may not even be aware of.
Meaning the amount of sleep you're getting at night, or how restful it is?
Yeah, I guess the quality.
Mm-hmm.
Because after that, the word sleep apnea, I never knew what that meant. And now...
How many hours do you get?
I'm in bed for about 8.
8 hours?
Yeah.
But sleeping?
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you guess?
7-ish, but I don't think they're good. Like, I wake up every night.
Okay.
Every night, and I look up, and I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, oh, okay, lots of time to sleep, and then just go back.
Yeah.
Right, or you have to use the washroom or something.
Okay.
So it's never uninterrupted.
Okay.
Yeah.
What time are you typically in bed?
10:30. Around 10:30, I start my wind down process.
Okay.
Which is late for but that's like in the bedroom, washroom wind down, not late. Yeah.
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 And then what? You're knocked out by...
No, I'm bad. I do things that I shouldn't do. I have YouTube
You're on your phone?
Yeah. I'm on YouTube. Like I'm off of social.
Yeah.
Like I'm not checking Instagram after a certain time. I put a timer on that.
Yeah.
Which on Sundays I don't really care too much for.
You put a timer on it to shut it off?
No, I put a timer to let me know that, hey, you've been on for 15 minutes. And then if I want to proceed, I just, click next or whatever and move forward. Yeah. But it's almost like a reminder that, hey, snap out of it.
Right.
So some days I don't even see it, which is nice, meaning I'm not on there for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But then there's other days, what I've known when you track it, that's been like hours. Because you can get lost in a rabbit hole.
Totally.
And it's, and it's different though, I feel like, especially for like our line of work. Mm-hmm. It's a great way to connect. It's a great way to learn.
There's a difference though, where either you're creating the content or you're going to consume it, right?
Yeah.
So you end up consuming so much more.
No, but consuming is good too. Like Instagram is the quickest way for me to find out, cool, what's a townhouse in Langley City Center going for?
Sure.
Quickly message, what's the strata, what's the property tax?
Yep.
Do the math and say, okay, a client of mine may fit in that for that property, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
Now, or maybe that's sometimes an excuse that we use.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of opportunity there to connect.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that really makes it easier to stay on longer. Mm-hmm. But you're right. There's a big difference between putting content out there or consuming it.
YouTube's the worst though.
YouTube is my number one. Like if you look at my breakdown on time spent.
Yeah.
Per app, YouTube, it would be YouTube. But mind you, because it's a lengthier time frame, like naturally.
Yeah.
But
you know what the problem is everything on the right side.
Yeah, the recommended. That changed everything. The recommended is it's changed everything. But it's good though. I like it.
Yeah.
Because then you're not wasting time.
Yeah.
Looking. You're wasting time consuming.
I'll even find myself. I'll be listening to YouTube while I'm driving.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
Me too, yeah. I think YouTube's algorithm to recommend things for us is, I guess the platforms are different, but they are more precise on what they think I want to hear.
Right.
Versus everyone else is kind of like throwing more noise at us.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's the difference in the medium, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, YouTube, I catch myself doing that too. I was doing that yesterday. Just listen. I think I listened to YouTube on my way here initially.
Yeah.
Got out of like a 5-minute video and then was back onto my music or whatnot.
Yeah. But your stuff. Let's talk about a little bit about your social media because you do. I think you do a great job, and I've told you that.
Yeah.
Putting content out there.
Yeah.
And pre-planning your content.
Yeah.
So that way it's out there consistently and it's showing up in a professional way.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's very informative. What do you do to sort of prepare for that? And what's your intention with all your social media stuff?
Thank you. and it's funny. I remember having that conversation, and after that, I don't think I did too much. I don't think I did too much of what I was doing for you to recommend. There was a couple of other things I posted since then.
Okay.
But not too much of the value. I realized before I was concerned about what I wanted to post and how that made me look versus who the end consumer is and how they're gonna and what they want to see.
Okay. So do you ever have end consumers comment and tell you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Tell you it's informative?
Yeah, they ask. They're like, oh, thanks for sharing. Yeah. And then, or it'll lead to, hey, okay, so I remember you saying this, now what? Or it leads to my spouse and I or my fiance and I would love to grab a coffee or come to your office. Yeah. So it leads to its attention, and then that leads to the next step for the right person. So I personally, I've found that a lot of first-time homebuyers or the generation that has the most questions are the ones that are connecting with me.
Got it.
Maybe because a lot of the stuff I talk about are things that are more important to them or seem like something that they should know. Or maybe it's a combination of that plus most of that demographic being on social more than people looking to buy rentals, people looking to build, or people looking to, do development or anything like that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Do you think that's your core business is a lot of younger people, first-time buyers throughout the rest of your business?
My business has shifted.
Okay.
So it's 2019. So 2018, 2017 was not primarily, but a majority of it was construction.
Okay.
Or non-A residential.
Okay. So what do you mean by non-A?
Just like whether it's private lending, whether they're investors or businessmen or women who need short-term capital for a project.
Okay.
So they got their financing through an institution, and now they may have, they may be $300,000 or $400,000 short according to their budget.
Okay.
And now that institution's not going to give them any more money.
Yeah.
So we'd be able to help with the shortfall. So there's a lot of those type of clients.
So that's not type A?
That's not type A because they're going to pay, 8-10%.
So what years was that your business?
17 and 18. And construction, like, hey, I want to build a house to sell.
Got it.
Or I want to build a house to live. But most of my clientele, in 18 especially, they were building homes to sell. And that was the market, right? A lot of new inventory was out. Yeah. People were building. I know a lot of builders. Yeah. And then you help someone, and then word of mouth goes a long way. And then in 2019... I think it was the beginning of the second quarter. I was like, oh, crap. Like, okay. I knew it was coming, but I didn't prepare well enough to pivot quick enough. Okay. So then it took a little bit of time for me to get...
What was coming?
That market was slowing down.
That market clientele?
Yes.
Okay.
Like they were going to wait.
Got it.
Prices were either inflated. Yeah. Banks were not, or credit unions were not lending the money as rapidly or as eagerly as they were in the previous years. And people were kind of tied up or overstretched.
Got it.
So then I shifted more to the residential clientele. Yeah. Which is nice because those are like everyday conversations. Yeah. Opposed to dealing with a certain niche, which is nice too. Because if you're a specialist in one thing, naturally you'll get that type of clientele. But the day-to-day, the residential, whether you're buying a condo, townhouse, or a detached home, are the majority of the conversations you can have without really trying to talk about work. Like people, those are the questions I get asked a lot. Hey, what are the rates? Yeah. Or if I have this much income, what can I buy? What's your opinion on this? So so that's kind of where the shift happened. But what took a while for me was just freshening up my residential knowledge, because market's changing all the time. Yeah. We work with a lot of lenders, so no one lender is good for everyone. Yeah. So we have to be caught up and fully updated on those guidelines. And also, in addition to that, is making sure that we have a good experience for our clientele while making sure that we're doing what's right for them.
So when you pivoted,
Yeah.
and you had to make that switch,
Yeah.
of, the type of clients you're working with,
Yeah.
did you know exactly where the market that you wanted to go into, which was, let's say, residential?
Yeah.
First time buyers, second buyers, or whatnot? Did you figure that out right away, or how did that sort of come about?
No, I wasn't sure where it would go. Because even like my builder clients, they all have homes.
Yeah.
They've all built and they're going to sell. They're still going to do stuff. And some of them, instead of buying another lot, they diversify or invested in a different way. Whether they bought a holding property, which would eventually become a lot.
Yeah.
But it still falls under the residential, even though their planning is still aligned with what they've been doing consistently, whether it's development or building.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know where it was going to lead to. I just found, I guess it was a combination of the easiest information or the most valuable information to put out was about the residential. So when I started putting that out there, I got more feedback online, but that didn't translate into business closed.
Okay.
And then naturally, when you just look at the market, we see what's slow, what's not moving, what is moving, and you realize that okay, the condo, the townhouse market, that less than 1-2 market, detached locally, all that stuff is moving, or 1-1, whatever that threshold is.
Right. Yeah.
And then that's where I kind of pivoted. Like, okay, that's what's moving.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of the action is.
Yeah.
That's where that falls, under the umbrella of people I can service.
Right.
So let's get really good at doing that.
Got it.
Yeah.
So that was a whole refresher for you to understand that world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, to get back into it more so.
Because you were doing that. Were you doing that before?
Yeah.
How long have you been doing mortgages?
I've been licensed for 7 years, since 2012.
That's a long time.
Yeah. I didn't really plan to be here this long.
Yeah.
Like I got my driver's license. I got my mortgage license prior to meeting my in-laws. And I was like, okay, at least they'll think I do something. Honestly. And I wanted to... and when I got it, I was using it as a stepping stone. I'm like, I'll figure something else out. Maybe I'll get into real estate in terms of a realtor, or I'll do something else.
Okay.
But then, so I work at Alpha Mortgage.
Yeah.
It's the only brokerage I've been with, and I just learned a lot because we do a lot of like development. So that's very like interesting. It's sexy, right? Like when you see someone, I guess maybe the numbers are sexy, but there's a lot of, it's just different. So I learned a lot and I was like, holy crap, I didn't know this. I didn't know that. I had no idea about this. Oh, this can save someone a lot of money. So I started learning a lot more, and then I started sharing that with people that I knew, and that felt good. So it's the same thing. I've been in sales for a while, but you got to be selling or providing a service to people that also is good for them, but two is also good for you.
Right.
Like makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Like you kind of get fulfilled. Like now if I see clients from 2016, 2014, it's a nice conversation. Properties have gone up. Their net worth has increased.
Yeah.
We did our best at that time and are now with like actually focusing on them. And people can read that off you, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. And Alpha, it's a smaller brokerage, right?
Yeah, we're boutique. Like there's no parent company. We're not like worth, there's no, what do they call it, like franchise? There's no Dominion or mortgage group or something like that.
So when you decided to get your mortgage license, you're like, okay, I'm going to go into this.
Yeah.
How long did you think you were going to be a mortgage broker for?
I probably was thinking like 3 to 5 years tops.
Okay.
Tops.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I was like, I'll learn some stuff, I'll make a little bit of money, and then we could figure something else out.
What were you going to figure out?
I don't know. That's what 3 to 5 years would figure out what allow me to do.
So you didn't know what you were going to get into after that?
No.
Okay.
I was. If you were to ask me then, I would have guessed real estate, realtor, 50% and 50% something else.
Got it.
Some sort of sales.
So what caught your attention with mortgages?
More so what we learned, because now it was nice to see like, okay, cool, you could buy a parcel of land.
Yeah.
What does it take to acquire it? You as a consumer, what do you need money wise, down payment wise? What type of income do you need?
Yeah.
Credit and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So the acquisition of the property.
Yeah.
2, depending on what you want to do, because I was seeing a lot of because when I started, I started as working as an assistant in addition to having my license.
So you had your license, but you were assisting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just so I had no pressure to jump in commission, 100% commission right off the bat. So
Got
it gave me like some sort of stability. And that's where I learned. So let's say you buy the parcel, then you figure out, depending on what you want to do. Let's say you want to turn one lot into like 6 lots.
Yeah.
Right? You want to subdivide. Then it's like, okay, cool. Now, which one of the local institutions or the big banks, who's gonna want who can provide that service?
Right.
What is it? What are their requirements?
Yeah.
So it's almost like a game where you like navigate through, and then it's like, okay, cool. What's the city's or the municipality's guidelines in regards to how to move to the next step?
Right.
And then after, all the marketing and all that stuff, it's like, what do you earn? And it's like, oh wow. So it's like that start to the finished product that really, and it was a lot of information.
Yeah.
But I realized that that was the value. That's kind of where I was like, I think I might want to stay here because I'm seeing a lot of, especially then it was all development that I was seeing.
Yeah.
Or whether it's you building a house and say, hey, you bought it for 500 grand for the lot, you put in 400 in it, you're in for 900 grand, 950, let's say, and then it's going to sell for 1.1 or 1.2, depending on the timing and market, and maybe even more.
Sure.
And I was like, oh wow, people are making a lot of money. And a lot of these people at that time, when I was seeing them, not everyone was full-time builder. So they had their regular source of income, and they were doing this on the side. So I wanted to really get a good grasp of all of that. And I thought I could learn that in like a couple of years and then apply that, like always have that type of a skill while doing what I wanted to do.
So it caught your attention because you wanted to learn it for your own sake?
My sake and everyone I know. Like if you know something good, you might as well, all my family will figure out about it. My friends and people that I hang out with, they'll naturally get that. I'll naturally share that info with, right?
So is that the type of business that you were assisting with right from the beginning?
Yeah, development.
Yeah. That's like right into the
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it was fun.
Nice.
Because everything was so new.
That's a big one because typically people are building up, right?
Yeah. We would think that. Yeah. You're right.
Go, okay, let me learn about mortgages and how somebody buys a condo.
Yes.
Like let's say in real estate, right? Like
yes.
when we're selling, we're learning, okay, help someone buy a townhouse or a small detached. And then, you hit $1 million sale and you're like, woohoo, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of how it worked for me.
Yeah, you're right.
And you kind of built up.
Yeah.
And then the development side, like let's say you got into something and that would never be your first deal, right? If it was, you probably got burned. Right?
Yeah.
On the sales side. So you kind of went right into the deep end.
Yeah. Oh, I was assisting Grinder, who does probably, if not one of the best, if not the local person in development in regards to financing. Like just knowledge is like just a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I could stay close to this type of a person, I'll just by default figure out a lot of stuff. Right. So
did you guys get into regular mortgages after that? Or
yeah. Well, for me, I was licensed. So
Yeah.
I was still taking applications for people that wanted to buy homes or people who wanted to buy like a industrial unit, light industrial or something like that. Whatever someone wanted to buy, I would be able to service them.
Right.
So had I gone, the only downside of doing that was there was no system. Like,
what do you mean by that?
Like there was no like, okay, let's learn this first.
Yeah.
And then you learn this first, and then you learn this. It was kind of like, all right, like this is what we're gonna do it. This is what we need. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like it was a lot of there was no structure. It was a lot of learning, I wasn't. And my personality, I kind of prefer structure.
Okay.
To at least digest, and then I can do things. My output might not have the structure, or it will have it in a different way. Okay. But the way I learn, which I didn't realize till not too long ago, is I learn differently. Everyone learns in a different way, right?
Right.
So I was still doing some of the residential deals while being more of an assistant and on the development side.
Got it.
So a little bit of here and a little bit of there, but never really one or the other.
Makes sense.
And then slowly the assistant time went down to eventually not doing that, to slowly getting more residential. And then the market shifted into the construction and building and that type of stuff. And then from there, now we do everything.
Got it.
Right.
So thinking back, is the experience that you got and, the type of business that you developed now, is that what you had in mind when you got into mortgages?
I didn't really have any expectations initially, but once I got in, kind of. I wish I had done some things better earlier, like implemented a system that worked for me, which I spent a good chunk of time this year doing. And no, it is kind of what to the extent, like, I have confidence to talk to anyone about any type of financing,
Right.
because you can come to our boardroom and that's what we're going to discuss.
Yeah.
I won't know all the answers.
Yeah.
To, like, if someone wants to do, a 100-unit townhouse project, or someone wants to do 100 lots or a strip mall or whatever. I won't have all the answers for sure, but we will. Someone at our brokerage will.
Right.
So we just, hey, because some people have been in that industry, the real estate industry, and on the development side or building side, or just in the industry as a whole, longer than I've been born. So for them to look at me and be like, what do you know?
Right.
It's like, hey, you're right. I may not know, but we do. So I got to leverage that, and I still do. That, hey, Wolf, we got it. Come to our boardroom.
Yeah.
We can have that meeting.
Yeah.
So and that's where we can. And then that's when they leave. They're like, oh yeah, you guys know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Which side do you enjoy more? The regular mortgage, or the development side?
So that's two, and there's so many, because there's like under the development side or construction, let's say.
Yeah.
Because mine is more construction than the actual development.
Okay.
Depending on what it is.
Yeah.
Me personally, but it depends. Like, it's easy to have. It's a lot easier to do the private side. Less paperwork.
Okay.
Your clientele knows they're going to go private. They're businessmen or women.
Yeah.
They understand the numbers.
Yeah.
Instead of making a $300,000 profit, for example, going through a bank or credit union, now they're going to make $240.
Okay.
Or $260.
Yeah.
They get it. They're okay with that because they're turning a profit.
Yeah.
So if you have the right clientele, it involves less work in the sense of paperwork, and it's a quicker process.
Okay.
So that's cool. But the residential side, I'm starting to enjoy one is the systems that we're putting in place, like fine tuning and learning, like making a process, like
so when you say process, systems, what does that mean to you?
Like, just from someone being a lead to someone being with us for life.
Got it.
Like A to Z.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is kind of fun to work on, because mentally, or like not mentally, but visually, you can almost draw it out and then see where you had the mistake and fix it, and then see it work smoother the next time.
Yeah.
And the residential side allows for like more, it's a conversation you can have with more people and provide more of value or help to anyone, anywhere, versus just that other market. But that other market has its benefits in the sense of, it might be less time, and it might be less time, might be more money in that, like, time spent on a file.
Right.
So I don't know. I think they all have their benefits or advantages, but we, as someone in this industry, I just have to be in a position where, okay, the market shifts, we shift.
Right.
Like, we have that experience. It's not like, when the luxury market slowed down, some realtors and people have done well or whatnot, they could just take the time off. Right? Some people are like, oh, Christmas came early, and like after like October, some people are like, oh, we'll start up in January, like really start up.
Right.
They had enough money or whatnot, but it's just nice to, for me, it might have slowed me down short term by trying to do here and do that, but those allowed that time frame kind of allowed for a good foundation to be able to do more long term.
Do you enjoy creating that foundation and that system, like you said, and sort of mapping things out?
I never even realized that I should be mapping things out until not too long ago.
Okay.
Like a year and a half ago.
Right.
Because I was able to, because everything was, when you're able to do a certain amount on your own, then you're like, you don't really know what obstacles you're about to hit. But when you realize that, whoa, there's a lot of work to do, then you realize that, okay, things have to be more efficient. Things have to be, because the reason I like the system part is, or like understanding the system is, you can have a team and then everyone has a role. So it's easier to, I guess, scale.
Right.
Once your system is intact, and then you always learn and build and adjust and pivot.
Yeah.
But it allows you to it would allow me to focus on the things that I like to do and where my strengths lie, and then have someone else and have team members support.
What do you see yourself focusing on after the team is all built?
Bringing in business and communicating to my clientele, whether they're realtor partners or other partners or our clients in general. That communication is huge. And then bringing in the business as well, because like the leads.
Yeah. So you have your team right now. It's you and an assistant?
Yeah, at the moment, yeah. So good. 2 of us.
And how long have you guys been working together now?
6 months, 7 months.
How's that been?
Learning experience. It's been good though. I could have been better initially in regards to establishing things a certain way. But when I felt like I was learning, there was a lot of stuff going on at once initially, and now I feel like we have more that duties are outlined. We've made mistakes, and now we were able to kind of build off that.
So she's full-time, part-time?
Part-time, 5 days a week at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you scared or worried to bring somebody else on?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm making, because at the time I hired, where we added. So when I hired Jyoti at that time, it was like the business was kind of gonna go like that, and I knew it. I'm like, okay, it's gonna.
Yeah, because market was slower. Right?
Market was slower, and I'm like, okay, I'm pivoting from here to there. So I understood that it'll take me a little bit longer to kind of get things going the way I wanted them to go.
Yeah.
So hiring at a time where you know you're not going to be making money.
Yep. And
you're thinking, the rationale versus like short term versus long term. So that was kind of a bit of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what worried you? Like
one is like, okay, one, someone else is relying on you. 2 is, what if you can become your own worst enemy? Okay, what if it takes much longer than I planned to get to where we want to go? So the cost factor. And then also when you hire someone, you want to make sure that they have things to do. So if you're not busy enough, if there's not enough work at the moment, then someone's going to be sitting there potentially twiddling their thumbs. Right. Naturally, because there's nothing to do.
And she's, I'm assuming, hourly or like a fixed salary type of situation? At
the moment, yeah.
Okay.
So I want to make it in a way where, because life happens, everyone's in a different state of their, you want to grow with people and grow the company, but no one is going to care about your business more than you're going to care.
Sure.
So you want to keep that, you want to make sure people are happy and comfortable.
Yeah.
But you also have to understand, and this is from talking to other people in the industry, people that are, or whether it's our industry or other industries, talking about how the systems, if you're good at doing that, or if you can really figure out what works for you, then it's people can come and go, and it wouldn't affect you too much.
Mm-hmm. So is that the idea, that you want to make some type of structure and system that where you can plug people into it?
For sure.
Got it.
Because we don't know, man. Like if life to us, when you're running your own business, it's everything. But to someone else, if they don't see the vision, or if they're meant short term, or they could be there long term, you don't want to be vulnerable, or you don't want to be affected negatively if someone leaves, because life happens. Like I've left jobs or industries because of things that happened in my life.
Right.
Why can't someone else do that, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of got to be, that's where I think that whole system and planning and thinking about things makes a difference. And these are things that are new to me too, because there's one is just the mortgage side of it.
Yeah.
But that's like working in the business. So you put that aside and you work out on your business. What things are affecting this? How can I do this better? How can we be better here? What can, like there's so many, it's almost like never ending.
Have you ever hired before?
No.
That was the first hire?
Yeah.
Yeah. Scary, right?
Yeah. Scary for sure. I was like, oh.
What were you doing before? I don't think I'm...
Prior to getting my mortgage license, I had my life license, so like life insurance.
Okay.
So I was like trying to tell people to get life insurance when I was like 21. 22.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I did a bunch of MLMs at that time as well.
Okay.
I did like I worked at like A&B Sound when that was around. I worked at like Weedman Lawn Care.
Oh yeah.
I worked at Cactus Club. Were you
doing the sales for Weedman?
Yeah.
That's a good gig though,
headset.
Right? A lot of people go through that.
Yeah, I guess so. It was pretty cool. You just tell people, if you get. It was funny because you learn to be used to the nose.
Yeah.
It's a good sales training.
Yes.
And then I remember telling someone that, hey, if you spend this $375 for the year on your lawn, your house will sell more than your neighbors for more than your neighbors. They'll probably sell for $5,000 to $10,000 more.
Might be true.
Right?
Yeah.
Little things, and I'll never forget that. So, I mean, it's not that I cut the grass now, anyways, but appearance on your lawn makes a big difference. It can make an older home look a lot more pleasant and better for a potential buyer than a newer home that's not looked after properly.
What did you get into right after you started working right after high school?
Yeah. Oh, I went to school, went to SFU for a couple of years.
You worked during that time?
When I was at SFU, no.
Because you were playing soccer.
Yeah, I barely studied.
Yeah.
That was the problem. I didn't work there at all. Like we just first year, you're like, okay, school and soccer and life, and then second semester or second year, I was like, I don't know if I want to be a teacher, because I went there in the hopes of being a teacher.
Got it.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. Like, I enjoyed helping people and that type of stuff, but I don't think that would have been.
When did you realize you didn't want to be a teacher then? Because that's what, 4 years?
Yeah. No, it's supposed to be 4 years, about maybe fourth semester or third semester.
Okay.
So like pretty early. And then I'm like, okay, now what do I do? I didn't have good enough grades to just jump into business.
Okay.
Because once you're in, it's like, you're competing with everyone else. It's not that easy.
Right.
And then at that point, I was like, okay, I don't think I'm going to be going to school for a little bit. I'm like, let's just put it on pause.
Oh, so you just...
Yeah, I dropped out. Essentially,
oh, wow.
I called it off.
Okay.
Like first I just stopped showing up.
Yeah.
And then just kind of went downhill. Then I was like, but the reason was I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, now we're paying for school. It's about to be the third year.
Oh, that was third year in that?
No, I was already thinking about third year. This isn't second year.
Yeah.
But I'm already thinking, okay, if I don't want to do this, now I'm just taking courses for what? Like, I was okay with not having a degree because I was like, that's not going to affect me too much. But my parents were like, oh, what do you mean you're not? Like, what do you mean you're not going to go to school?
You're the oldest?
Yeah.
And you have
a younger brother. Yeah.
Younger brother. How old is he?
He's 2 years younger.
2 years younger.
So he's 30. I'm 32.
Got it. So he was okay. So you're in school.
Yeah.
You go, okay, I'm going to become a teacher.
Yeah.
What type of teacher were you thinking?
I was going to rely on history.
Okay.
History, gymish. Just get in the school system and figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but what drew you to that?
I liked helping people. I thought we had some good teachers at PM, a couple of good ones.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, these guys are cool. The lifestyle seemed good. Like, you get the summers off.
Yeah.
You're off at 4.
Yeah.
If you really want to take a half day off mentally, it's not hard to do. It doesn't, it seemed like a good lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, so soccer was a big thing for you.
Yeah.
And going at SFU, soccer was important?
Yeah. We just went there for soccer.
Got it.
Like, I went to SFU because our friend Gary was there, and he's like, just come to SFU.
Yeah.
I was like thinking about going to UBC, or some people, a lot of our friends that we grew up playing with, they went like down south. We had friends go to, or people go to like nice big schools in the U.S.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, so you're spending your time playing soccer, and you realize, hey, I don't want to become a teacher.
Yeah.
Then you just took time off?
Yeah, once I made that decision, I didn't just like take time off or whatever. I just stopped showing up.
Okay.
So it took me a long time to really execute that. I don't want to do it.
How long?
Like probably that good 2 semesters.
Oh, wow.
So from the beginning of the second year, I realized until the end of the second year. So I didn't even get to third year. I was like, nah, forget it.
And then so soccer was on hold too?
Soccer at SFU was then. I was like, forget it.
Oh, you just left it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
It comes. You can't do one or the other.
Do, okay.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, it's not that big. I'm not gonna go pro.
Yeah.
Then I got into sales, and I don't know. I guess I was also like reading then too, like normal. Like, you still learn.
Right.
People think that if you drop out of school, you stop learning.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, you probably start learning things about things you want to learn.
Sure.
So that like reading and like learning kind of kept me going. Like, oh, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like,
so it didn't faze you that you're
no,
like, okay,
I didn't really care. I didn't really care what other people
Most people
thought.
do.
Yeah,
it's like a big thing, right?
Yeah, I think not so much now, but like that's 10 years ago.
Right.
So people, like, it was, I know my mom didn't like telling people, school shut, he's not going to school anymore. People like, oh my God, your son's not going to school? Oh my God, like fucking, this guy's an idiot.
Sure.
But it's like, then I was smart enough, or at least I thought I was smart enough to think like, okay, who's telling me this? I'm like, no, you got to know who you're taking advice from.
So you started working then?
Yeah, that's where I got my life license to do.
That was your first?
That was my first post, because I went to because I got my license because it takes time to get it. So right out of high school, I was working at A&B Sound.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did that, and then that led to
Which one was that?
Delta.
80th
and
Mall?
Scott. Yeah, no, not Scottsdale Mall, where the Superstore Plaza is now.
By Nordell area?
80th and 80 or 80, 82.
Yeah.
Opposite IHOP.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, on Surrey side, there was a A&B Sound. I only got the job because a friend of mine knew the general manager.
And your tech skills, obviously.
Yeah, my tech. I didn't know anything. He's just like, "Do you like The Simpsons?" I'm like, "I do," and he asked me 3 questions about The Simpsons, and I knew them, and I got the job.
Actually.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like the life should be. Eh?
Yeah. He asked me a bunch of questions. I was like, because you had resumes. Everything was bullshit on the resume.
Yeah.
Like you're 21 or 20 years old, 19 years old. What experience do you have, right? So, but it was fun. I enjoyed my time there.
So you were there for?
I was there for probably 6 months.
Nice. 6
to 8 months.
You enjoyed that?
Loved it. Every paycheck went towards a TV, DVD player, and DVDs.
You end up spending all your money.
I love it. I loved it. There was some cool people working there, people that were experts in movies or critics or whatnot, and I'd always pick their brain because I thought I was too.
Yeah.
I sold car audio decks first. That's what I was doing, selling those Alpines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was interesting. The warranty was where the money's at.
Yeah.
You learn a lot too, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's retail's a good place to start.
I think it's a really good place to start.
Yeah. Then they suck you out of all your money, right?
Yeah.
And you leave with all the product.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I did a bunch of stuff.
So after that you got into insurance, life insurance.
Yeah, not too long after that, but I also had some gigs in between. Like when I had my life license, I was still working at Cactus Club.
What were you doing there?
Pardon me?
What were you doing there?
I was at I was doing a quality control. So it's like pretty much you start. It's like where you start, and then you move into serving.
Okay.
So I tried serving. Serving was the next step. I'm like, I don't like serving. I know a lot of people come here.
Yeah.
And then I just didn't like that, serving people that I know.
Right.
Or whatnot. So, and I wanted to be flexible, more flexible. So I just I stayed there, and then I just worked out a deal with them. Like, hey, I'll train people in this position.
Okay.
And they were super nice there. Everyone it was a good vibe. Yeah. Cactus Club is actually, it's a good place for people to stay within because they promote within, and they're a big company, and everyone's super nice. I like the GMs there, from the staff there, from the managers there. Everyone was awesome.
Yeah.
So, and I got that job. I failed the interview there, and then someone worked there. And she called them back, and they're like, "No, you're gonna have to hire him."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, there's been a mistake. When can you come in on Monday?" I'm like, "See you there. Yeah. See you then."
And they actually said no to you?
Oh yeah.
Or they just didn't call you back?
No, they I'm pretty sure they said no. I can't remember the details. And when I made the phone call to the person that referred me, she like, let me call you back.
Yeah. And then but you had all the answers to the Simpsons.
No, yeah, that's different, right?
Different they didn't interview.
They didn't ask me. They didn't ask me. They're probably like, "What are you gonna do here?" I'm like, "I don't know. Eat your garlic mayo." That was a big thing then. I ate so much food then.
What else did you do during that time then? You said you had a couple of gigs? So
Cactus, Weedman, A&B Sound.
Yeah.
Cutco Knives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I went on their interview. Then they asked you to buy the knives.
I kept the cheese knife.
Oh yeah.
I've never.
Good stuff though.
Really good.
Yeah. Lifetime warranties. I think.
Yeah. I don't think I lasted a week there.
Yeah.
Because I just signed up, got money for the training.
Yeah.
Maybe did like 3 or 4 of those presentations.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah.
It's a tough gig.
Yeah. And then the other MLM Monavie, that was a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big one.
They blew up like...
Big in the sense of that shit caught fire locally.
It did.
And it was crazy because you had to be... Like, I remember everyone was saying so much stuff about it, and we were always telling people, like, stop overhyping it. Just tell people it's good for you.
Sure.
And that's it.
Right.
But people are like, oh, I fixed my knee. I got taller. My mom had this. It changed her life. And it's just like, oh, yeah, that's a backlash waiting to happen.
But that stuff, I remember it blew up big.
It was so big.
But then it just faded away.
The company, like, there's a lot of corporate shit that went down. Yeah. So like some products weren't coming. There was some stuff going on between corporate.
Yeah.
Some countries they were going to launch in. So instead of investing in like what's a current MLM that's doing well still? There's got to be some of them like Mary Kay. I'm assuming
they're just historic, right?
Yeah, and there's what's the other one? Herbalife, I think.
Herbalife,
right? I think
they're trending back up now.
I think so too, because
maybe on social.
I probably have Herbalife product in our house, like
sure.
my mom or someone someone close to me. They have that because the products are good.
Yeah.
So if your product's good, it's gonna work.
Yeah.
But Monavie, I don't know what happened. It was fun, good times.
How long were you?
I was a distributor for I think it was like 4 or 5 years.
Oh wow!
Because everything you could do so many things part time, right?
Yeah.
We didn't have a mortgage to pay. I didn't have a car bill to pay.
Yeah.
Just had my phone bill and my living expenses.
So were you working while you were doing that, or was that the?
Yeah.
Not the sole.
I was working when I was doing that, but I made a mistake because I got to I made the mistake of leaving my part-time job while doing that.
So part-time was Cactus?
Cactus at that time, yeah.
Okay.
And then still had my license, but just not actively using it.
My life insurance.
Life insurance, yeah.
And then you have Monavie going at the same time.
Yeah.
So what was the mistake?
I left Cactus Club. I should have kept that part-time business going or part-time hours going.
Why
because
was that a mistake?
Then that was covering my lifestyle.
Okay.
And then Monavie could have covered everything else.
Got it.
Could have reinvested, could have done something else, just multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of inconsistency or lack of consistency in any business, let alone MLM. Because people thought they were going to go make millions of dollars.
Did you think that?
I didn't think I was going to make millions. I thought I was going to make some good weekly money for a while.
Did you make money?
Yeah, a little bit.
How much?
I don't recall the amounts, but it was enough for me to not have to work anywhere else and be able to like travel and eat out and have money to go out. And
like a few grand?
Yeah, easily a couple of grand a month.
Nice.
Yeah, easily.
So were you?
But it wasn't consistent.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Were you selling the product more or more building the team?
It kind of went hand in hand, but team and product. Like you're only making money if you're selling product, and if you got a team that's selling more product, you can make more money.
Of course.
Yeah. So it was about the retention was low though. People come in, they thought they make a lot of money, or someone what people did? People freaking force people to buy product.
Really?
Yeah. So that's gonna be a bad taste in the mouth for anyone.
Right.
You look at your credit card bill, you're like, what the hell? Where's money going to?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking screw this shit, and they're like, screw that guy too.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Did you enjoy it though?
I loved it.
It was a good time?
It was awesome. I met some awesome people.
Yeah.
Where a lot of us are still friends to this day, close friends.
Sure.
So I met some really good people and had a lot of good memories.
Yeah.
So my experience with it was really good.
And then what happened? It just fizzled out, or?
Yeah, company. I think they had new ownership, or one of the main guys was going to another company, and they were going to take all their team. And when all that stuff started to happen, I was already like, okay, fuck it.
Right.
Forget it. But I got upset when the products weren't available.
Oh, because even though
because they were changing products, or a company was getting bought out, or there was some legal shit going on, so the production had to stop, right?
Oh wow.
So even though I didn't care about the business itself, I was always ordering.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
I
liked
fixing
it.
Your knee, is that why?
No, I could use it today, right? Oh, that's good. No, it was just good. I knew I wasn't putting anything good in me, and that was the closest to good. That was the best thing I was putting in my body at that time.
Yeah.
Everything else was like McDonald's or fast food or junk.
Sure.
So it kind of gave me that feeling like, hey, this is good. And then they had these energy drinks.
Yeah.
That were fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like those are really good.
Are they still sell right now?
I think they are now. I got someone message me not too long ago like, hey, it's back. And I was like, okay, I'll made a mental note, and I'll see if people are still drinking it, and then I'll if those energy drinks were here, I would be on those.
Yeah.
Because they're like, those are good.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was fun for us. It was like early 20s,
right?
Early to mid 20s. And then life shifted towards like, oh shit, I'm gonna get married eventually.
Yeah.
Let's figure this out. Got my that's when we jumped into.
So what happened with the life insurance?
Just couldn't do both. It's hard enough to do one.
Oh wow. Okay, so you didn't even practice that at all?
I did.
Okay.
Just not to the extent of a full-time proper life insurance agent. And it's hard when you're like 20, 22, telling someone to get life insurance.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like you have to have a long-term approach. It's so important to have.
Yeah.
Like I'm 32 and I realize how important it is. We just upped our or revisited our policies not too long ago and made sure that, you know, we're set for the next 40 years plus or whatever.
Right.
Because it serves a need.
Yeah.
But you don't really care when you're young. Because I was only talking to younger people for the most part.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Family and stuff. I got protected people in our, like Sim, how I met him, he did the insurance for my parents.
Mm.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. He was good.
Yeah, it's tough, I guess, when you're younger talking to, I mean, younger people aren't going to buy life insurance.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah.
Right.
It was almost like asking people for money.
Right.
Versus mortgages giving people money.
Mm.
Yeah.
So at that point, that's when you got married, and you're like, okay, let me go get a.
26, I got married. Yeah.
And you're like, let me
tell my in-laws that I have a good job.
Yeah.
And then, but they're super chill, so it didn't really matter much.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it gave them some peace of mind. But that's when I started learning a lot about just the real estate side of things.
Right. Right.
And you know where we live now, or you know, Lower Mainland, it's like real estate's the hottest topic always.
Oh yeah.
Cold market, hot market, doesn't matter.
Everyone's talking about it.
All day, every day.
Yeah. Do you regret any of those kind of moves or decisions or?
No.
Yeah.
No. Not at all.
Where do you see it sort of going now? Like, do you see mortgages growing more, or do you see yourself pivoting?
I am, at the end of the day, it's the skills we learn and the people that we know will determine, you know, what your income or your lifestyle or whatever you want to do. So and now the technology is the one that's going to be the one that's really going to mess people up. Mm-hmm. Right now it's 2020. We haven't really seen technology take away or eat up business, whether real estate or mortgages or anything, but it's coming.
Of course. So
you got to be able to do more than just the minimum. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm only providing someone a mortgage and then like not really talking to them, or that's about it, it's like a transactional base, then I'm done. Mm-hmm. So that's what we focus on. That's why it's almost like this year I took a step back to make sure we could really do more. We could service more people in a better way and have better relationships long term. Because if you're not thinking long term for your clientele, first for yourself and your clientele, then you're going to get replaced.
Mm-hmm. So you want to establish that and then make sure you guys are set for the future?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Exciting.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if 10 years, if, you know, robots or technology is doing all of the financing, at least the A business, which will come, there'll be a day, if it's like, might be pretty soon, if not already here in certain areas. Yeah, it's like if all your information is on your phone, how much money you have, what your credit is, so how much money you have, how much you earn. Like we're really close to pressing a button where it says
approved.
You're pre-approved for this range. And then the next level on that will be like, these are the properties
would be trippy, hey?
Yeah, next level is like, these are the properties in your range.
Yeah.
And then the next level is like, cool, this is the lawyers. These are the lawyers we deal with that you can book appointments with. Yeah. Because everything else is already checkmarked. And then the legal...
Is that talk happening in your industry?
There's articles and stuff like that. I think Amazon bought Reology. Yeah. The article was from the summer. I don't know how long of the close or the transaction or whatnot. And I didn't know what Reology was, but that's a parent company for Century 21 and Caldwell Bank. Is that what it is?
I'm not sure. Okay.
And no, is that how you say it?
Caldwell?
Yeah, Caldwell. Okay. Yeah. And a bunch of other companies. Mm-hmm. And what they want to do is they're gonna right now they're promoting it in the sense that they'll service the realtors. Like, hey, we'll bring leads quicker.
Sure.
But the next bite after that is going to be like later realtor.
Of course.
And then what? So they want to do. They also want a title company. So they want to get their hands in the whole process. Mm-hmm. So we are all, you know,
going to be MIA.
Yeah, at least I mean, mind you, people always like talking to everyone.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe the kids that are 10 years old now, by the time they're 30, they might not. They might be like, screw this person. I just want to, like, you know, time is money. Click, 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 done, sign up.
Because that's so possible, because your payroll, let's say, goes into your, like, you know, that's an app on your phone, right? So you need your pay stubs. Your T4s can be like, you know, in a digital format. Yeah. I mean, what else do you need to get a mortgage?
Yeah, your credit's already there.
Your credit's there.
And the down payment you have is already available. Yeah. They're just separate right now.
Right.
So if you put them together, then the first step is taken care of.
Right.
And the next step is, so now you know what you can qualify for. Now it's like, let's find these properties. That's when we come to you.
Yeah.
Go to the realtor.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, please help us out.
Yeah.
Cool. We find the properties. Then, we have the paperwork. You get a commitment letter from a lender.
Yeah.
As long as everything falls under the lender's umbrella or box or whatever. And then we move forward with removing subjects, go to the lawyer. Like, this is an easy process, in my opinion, to automate.
Yeah.
I just think that the human, like, depending on who you're dealing with, some people will be like, yo, I'd prefer to deal with someone.
Sure, there's always that human touch,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But a lot of it can be automated.
Yeah.
Even if there's somebody just overseeing everything.
Yeah.
That's where the human can come in.
Yeah. Like, that's why we want to be in a position where we're talking to our clients about 15, 20 years down the road.
Makes sense.
Okay, so this is your plan today. What do you want to do long term?
Right.
If you want to do this long term, based on what we have, these are some possible scenarios and strategies that we can use to change your life here, or implement strategies here, or pay off your mortgage in half the time, or save for retirement and actually give a shit about them. Right? So
I think that's what talking about what separates you and how you operate is, I think you really like that game plan.
Yeah.
And going back to having those systems in place.
Yeah.
And even putting systems in place for your clients.
Yeah.
Right?
Big
that
time.
way they have goals and different things that they can do and diversify.
Yeah.
And adding value to clients that way.
Sure.
That's important to you, obviously.
Big time. I think that as long as you're taking care of people and doing things in their best interest, it doesn't matter what you do.
Right.
So in 15 years, as long as we're looking, like, you can be transactional, which is fine. We're business owners. You should understand things, but there's different ways to make money. If you're doing the right thing for your client long term, and they know that, if your intentions are good, fuck it. I don't have to do mortgages in 12 years if if the bots are doing everything for us. I'll do something else. And that equity I built in with my clientele, those relationships will carry that equity forward. It might not be the full 100% of what I built up, but like 60 or 50 or 75% of that I can use towards the next career or lifestyle or step in my life. If that, I worst case, I'll think like that.
Right.
But I'm not looking to get out of mortgages or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless we're forced out. Right.
Yeah. Even then, then you do the deals that aren't easy to automate.
Of course.
So you got to be ready to pivot.
Yeah. Because I don't think a developer can plug it into an app, right?
No, man, not at all. I mean, you never know. But even once that happens, it'll only be one line.
Sure.
Whereas we can provide multiple options and lines and avenues.
So when you think of equity built up,
Yeah.
you're thinking your relationship
Yeah.
equity, right?
Yeah.
Like you're doing, X amount
all that
of
matters.
transactions with these clients.
Yeah.
And it's worth whatever amount to you.
Yeah.
Right? That'll get reduced because
Yeah.
obviously you're not providing that anymore.
Yeah.
But you still have those relationships.
For sure. For sure.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think we should all think of it like that.
Yeah, I haven't thought of it that way.
Right? Okay, so we may have had teachers or someone or coaches playing sports that are not serving any purpose to us today. Or, there's no like transaction or any learning from or communicating with. But if you were to see them or the things that they've taught you, like you still hold a high regard for some people, right?
Sure.
So that's kind of like, it's your relationship. It's something that they've built into you or enhanced your life in a certain way that you will forever be grateful for. They could be parents, they could be spouses, they could be kids or neighbors or someone, the littlest things, but you'll always remember that. So when now that person or that individual has a conversation with you about a service that they're providing that you probably need, that would be smart that to get into that type of a service, you would naturally give them more of your ear than anyone else in that space.
Do you feel like that molded your thinking because you might have those types of people around you, or what kind of got you going that way?
Maybe. That's a good question.
'Cause that's not a everyday thought process for somebody doing mortgages or someone doing real estate, whatever, right?
Yeah, maybe. I just feel like the world's changing a lot. But I can recall people from 20 years ago, 25 years ago that have done good, that means so much for us going forward, me personally.
Okay.
And then also people that have done not so good, and you just kind of realize, oh, okay, because when you're young, like you absorb everything, right? So you see some good stuff, you're like, oh, wow, that's awesome. You carry that forward. You see some bad stuff, you also carry that forward.
Right.
And then, you naturally think about, I guess it just shapes who you are.
Right.
And then shapes your thought process. And it's not just one thing, it's everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Did you have like impactful people that you go, even to this day, of something that they did in the past?
Yeah.
Like
good people, and then then everyone's got the not so good. But
of course, yeah.
But sometimes that's a better experience.
Yeah.
Long term.
Yes.
Where you're like, oh wow, okay, this is what you said when we were kids. It's like, whoa.
Right.
Like, man, I feel bad for you.
No, that's
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And then sometimes that opportunity, that situation leads for someone to really come in and help you.
Mm.
Right. So. Yeah, I think so. I think that I don't know. I feel like I have a good memory, so I remember a lot of stuff from my childhood, and my childhood was awesome. Right? Yeah, like it was the best at a point, and then after it wasn't so good for a bit, just because like family dynamics or whatnot. But then in hindsight, it's like, oh, that was such a cool path to go, because you learn so much more, and then and sometimes it's not even just learning, like it's not learning on paper. It's just like understanding people and situations that are important. It's almost like the EQ, right?
Yeah. Build your tolerance to put up with certain types of people or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Or know what's good and what's bad for you.
Yeah, we'll just get a vibe from people and be like, this person just got a different agenda.
Yeah.
I've seen this before.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you see that with your line of work, that when someone, and right off the bat, like whether you're going to end up working with this person
I've had people come in, they're like, okay, this is the deal. Last time we went somewhere, this person changed my income, and then they did that. What can you do for us? I'm like, I'll open the door for you.
Right.
Peace out.
Yeah.
There's people like that, which is fine. I understand why they would think that, because previously that's what's happened.
Yeah.
So I've gotten to think more a little bit about everyone has their own path. So even if you interact with someone at a time in your life, in their life, where you didn't like what you were, the vibe or whatnot, they still have their story, right? So they could have been, an asshole at that time for something that they really, they could have been in a different place at their time that made them react in a certain way.
Yeah.
So you can never hold someone accountable for one interaction for who they are, because life is up and down for everyone. But I feel like everyone, when they come to us, they want money. They just want to buy a home. They want to make it simple.
Yeah.
The only problem is we want to make it simple for them too.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's a procedure and a way to go about things, right? So I'll tell clients, like, hey, if you bank with someone, just go there first.
Right.
Tell me what they're telling you. If that's your best option, take it.
Right.
If not, then I'll get you something. If I know I can get you something better, then we'll get you something better.
So in your world, because I didn't know this, before I got into real estate, is there's mortgage brokers, who are independent, right, and then there's people who are mortgage brokers who work at banks, correct?
Yeah. So I don't know. The term mortgage broker is applied, and I could be mistaken too.
Okay.
Because so if you're a mortgage broker,
Yeah.
or a sub-mortgage broker. The mortgage broker is actually the brokerage.
Okay.
But everyone just says mortgage broker, but it's really the sub-mortgage broker. That's what the actual technical term is.
Sub-mortgage broker?
Yeah, because the mortgage broker is the company.
Ah.
Yeah, so when you're working within that company, you're technically a sub-mortgage broker. But nobody says. Everyone just says mortgage broker.
Okay.
So the mortgage broker is someone who has passed a test.
Okay.
And had to go through training, pass a test.
Yeah.
And now has a fiduciary duty to make sure that they do the right for the client.
Okay.
Like there's a responsibility factor. Like if you fuck around, you could go to jail.
Okay.
Like that.
Yeah.
Like on an extreme side.
Yep.
If you're in an institution, and I don't think they have to pass a test. Like of course they have to pass like an interview, make sure
institution meaning a bank
or credit union or some other lending institution.
Okay.
But for the most part, let's use bank for it. That's what most people are used to, banks or credit unions. So if you're working there, you don't need a mortgage broker license. You are technically under the umbrella of the company or the corporation.
Okay.
And you work for them. So you sell their products.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
So it doesn't mean that one's right or one's wrong. But like,
is that with all banks?
Yeah. Like, they're not licensed. Like, if someone does some fucked up shit in the bank, which has been going on for years,
Okay.
like where they just turn a cheek and we make it happen. That's why I tell people, go to your bank. If your bank's gonna give you money that you normally wouldn't qualify for, fucking take it.
Sure.
Like, do what's best for you.
Yeah.
But if they can't, then I got you.
Got it.
I think I'm going to provide the best value for my clients at all times.
Sure.
Because I'm going to give them their honest opinion. If it's something I can't help them with, or if my rate's higher, or it's just not a good fit, I'll tell them to go there. Mm-hmm. And I don't need that.
And you've done that.
Right? Yeah. So it happens. Because that's the right way to play.
Okay.
If I could, it's not fun, man. Like when the mortgage hat comes off, someone can still call you a piece of shit and an asshole and feel negative based on a transaction or a bad experience. So I don't want to ever have that baggage with me in life. I don't want to have, we're going to get older, we're going to have kids one day. And everyone wants to say, hey, your dad screwed me over.
Sure.
Or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's not worth it. We're doing our best with what we know today, right?
Yeah.
But so going back to working at an institution is you're not licensed. So if we both make the same mistake, like a bad mistake,
okay,
the institution will just kind of let you go.
Okay.
If you get caught, that is, let you go, and now you can go work for another institution.
Got it.
As a mortgage broker, you're going to be publicly shamed
because you're licensed.
Because we have the responsibility. We're licensed.
Yeah.
So we have a responsibility to do what's best for the client.
Publicly shamed, like rocks thrown at you?
No, like here, let's put you in the leader, the Vancouver Sun. Look at this asshole.
Right.
Right.
So that can't happen with a bank.
When have you ever read a story about some crazy shit happening at a bank? Nothing.
No.
And like in our line of work,
like
I see clients getting mortgages where they couldn't.
Right.
And I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. And like it's for like a second. Initially, it would bother me. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Am I in the wrong place? Should I not be there making more money if I'm nonstop approving? Mm-hmm. Or if the guidelines are slightly less, if it's easier to qualify for. Mm-hmm. But then I think if I'm here, the only way I can win here is by thinking long term. And if I think long term, I'll do better long term. Not to say you can't win here. There's people that have been in the institutions ripping it up, living beautiful lives, good people, everything. There's always like one versus the other. It's not like that.
Right.
There's good people everywhere.
Of course.
And there's fucking crazy people everywhere.
Of course.
So it's not about that. But
I didn't know there was with banks that you didn't have to be a mortgage, licensed mortgage broker.
Yeah. No.
I thought
because a licensed mortgage broker's job is to make sure they're doing the best for the client. At a bank, how can you tell the client you're doing the best for them? You could. Mm-hmm. It could potentially be. But you don't know if you don't know you don't know the other people's guidelines.
Yeah.
What if they could put less money down, get a better rate, so therefore pay less monthly, put less money down monthly, whether it's slightly, and have the exact same terms and conditions as you have.
Right.
That's not doing the best for the client, but it's not their fault because they not that they don't know, they shouldn't know. That's not their responsibility to know.
Makes sense.
Right?
So in your world, as independent?
Yeah.
We're
mortgage brokers.
Mortgage brokers.
Yeah. Someone else could be an advisor or like a product specialist or whatnot, but we still provide the same service to a degree. To the client, they don't know the difference.
Yeah.
They don't know.
And you have access to all the banks?
All the banks that work with brokers. So most of them. Some of them have their internals, like RBC. They have like mortgage specialists that work with RBC, or CIBC or whatnot. But for the most part, we work with everyone.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then also the
traditional. Yeah, because there are companies they're monoline lenders, so they'll give you the same rates banks will, if not better.
Okay.
But they don't care for like your TFSAs. They don't care for giving you credit cards. I mean, they might give you a couple of credit cards just because it's super easy for them to do, but that's not their line of work. Their only focus is mortgages.
Okay.
And that's it. That's all they want to do. They're like publicly traded companies. They're billion-dollar companies, and that's all they do. So a lot of times, they may not have a storefront. Yeah. Like, I got a mortgage with one of them.
Okay.
And there's. To someone else outside the storefront, it's pretty much the same. Yeah. But a lot of times when people are in like fixed mortgages, the prepayment penalties, it can be much greater at a bank versus at a monoline lender. So that goes into the planning. Okay, you want a 5-year term? Cool. God forbid something happens in year 3 or 4, because most people, more than half of 5-year term, people that are in 5-year fixed mortgage terms, more than half of them will break their term in year like 3.5 before 4, around that time.
Why is that?
They could want to do rentals. They could just want to consolidate debt.
Yeah.
They want to refinance.
Okay.
Or they could sell.
Okay.
So given something like that happening.
So that doesn't mean necessarily that they're selling at that point.
No, it doesn't necessarily.
Yeah.
Son or daughter could be getting married. They need They need to tap into equity. They got a business opportunity. They want to get into equity out of the house to do something else. And in a lot of those examples, you're going to pay much less at a monoline than you would there. And sometimes, depending on what the rates are, it could be tens of thousands of dollars different.
Just to break that term.
Yep. Yeah, there's different ways of calculate it. That's pretty much what it is.
Do you find when clients come in, and they're not familiar with monoline, lenders, that they prefer something like a traditional bank, and they question that?
It could be an issue, and sometimes it is, but I get that up front, and I tell them, like, listen, we could get you that. I work with banks,
right?
But if the bank's giving you your your second best option, and this place is giving you your first best option, and another monoline's your third and another bank's your fourth, like, if those are your best options, tell me why you want to go number 2. If you want to go number 2, let's do number 2.
Right.
It doesn't bother me.
Okay.
I just think that's better for you based on the knowledge I know.
So do people care at the end of the day?
Some don't. Some do. Some don't some don't care.
Yeah.
Some don't care if they have big penalties. Some don't care at all. Some people, they're so busy with their life, they're working hard, they got kids, life's not easy, it's busy, it's stressful, it's winter, they're going to move, they're like, fuck, we just want something easy.
Right.
So that's on me to part of the whole system part.
Mm-hmm. About finding the
right way to do things.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
Yeah. And doing it to a level where we could do multiple and do it really quick and do a good job. Because that's the only way you're going to survive. And there's some people here doing well, like doing the right way in a good way and doing really well. And there's other people, like any industry, that are like, and it's nothing against them. It's just that's how they operate. They're just transactional. They'll just say, no, this one's much better because it's going to pay you more.
Yeah. Oh, got it. Like on your guys' side?
On my side or the bank.
Right.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of bad brokers or bad this. But there's a lot of good too.
Sure.
But there's, it doesn't matter where you are. I guess it just depends on the individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you find the biggest challenges for your clients? Like, what are some of their hurdles that they go through? Let's say the average home buyer.
Just not realizing what it takes to get a mortgage.
Meaning it takes more or less?
Meaning they don't. Okay, so some want to know. Some have natural personalities. They want to know everything, which is fine.
Yeah.
I prefer to operate that way, just so everything's on the table. Okay. But sometimes when you want to know a lot, it's a lot to digest. Like, why are we going this way? Because they calculate rent differently. Oh, okay. Why'd you need this document versus the other document? Oh, because this lender, who calculates differently, looks at these documents in addition to these documents. Okay. So for clients, I think my clients' biggest hurdle is, on my end, it's like getting paperwork. As a broker, my biggest hurdle, which we're much better at now, but we could still be better at, is getting the documents up front.
Why is that?
Because once we have the documents up front, the client can all the hard work is done. Because then it's on us. Then there's no okay, we're ready to go, but we need this. Because now if we got the client work and now everything's good to go, now we move into looking for a home, then we communicate with you. Yeah. Client's still informed, but we're like, cool, now send property docs. Yeah. Now sent to the lender, then it's like, cool, come sign, these are the terms, this is the approval, this is what it is. Yeah. Then it's easier. I think
gathering that paperwork up front is challenging?
For me, yeah.
Okay. Because people don't have that paperwork?
Or they're just like, oh, last time we got our mortgage, they really didn't ask us for these documents. I mean, yeah, because last time either the rules were different, or you're only dealing with one bank that sees all your stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they could provide you with financing with providing, by you providing less paperwork to them than to me because they're seeing half of it.
Yeah.
But now your blinders are on. You don't know if you're getting the best or third best or second best option.
Is it difficult for the client to get that paperwork?
No.
Is that the challenge, or like
some clients it can be, but yeah, I don't think it's difficult for the client to get the paperwork. I think sometimes it's hard for them to digest why.
Why?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, why do you need that? Oh, well, some of our lenders can actually use your child benefit tax, your child care benefit tax. Right. So it's, if you have kids, depending on the age, and your income level, you get monthly contributions or benefit from, per child.
Right.
Banks won't use that as income. I have clients that have $10,000 of that annually, and that's non-taxable. We can use that as income.
Oh, I see.
So then it's like, the reason they didn't ask for it is because they're not going to calculate it into your income.
So your idea is you want to gather this stuff up front.
Yep.
That way you
can do a proper due diligence on their behalf.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you may or may not use it, right? Depending on where you take that client.
And in addition to that is sometimes clients will tell you, I make X amount of dollars and it's 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
So this is my income. We're like, cool, provide the docs.
Okay.
It's like, no, you're currently working those hours, but those hours aren't guaranteed. Now you're part-time. And if you haven't been there for a certain amount of time, it's hard to use that income with everybody.
Right.
Yeah. So they don't understand the reasons why we might have to pivot. But that's not their fault.
Sure.
That's our responsibility.
Okay, to explain it to them.
Always.
Okay.
So these are part of the systems where we talk about it before we see this. Yeah. And so we're doing our best to limit that.
Got it.
Growing pains.
So once you have everything,
yeah.
It's smooth sailing after that?
Pretty much. Yeah, a smooth sailing in the sense of we don't need to get documentation for them.
Right.
Right, because there can always be hiccups. There can be an issue with the property foundation or something that's messed up. Yeah. But once we have everything from them, then we really know where we start.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. It just sometimes delays the start process because we're working with figures that they've mentioned, but I'd rather work with figures that I've seen.
Right.
Right, like I'll call the employer.
Sure. To check everything.
I'll call them before the lender calls them, just to make sure. Like, hey, okay, they part-time or the guaranteed hours? Oh, they're not? Okay, thank you. Now we know that we've avoided a potential issue.
Got it.
Because we're tackling it up front.
Somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay. So, working with clients, what would you do to help them prep so that way they can have a smoother transaction?
One is providing them information. So let's say one is I'll talk to them before I meet them.
Okay.
Speak to them, get an idea of their vibe, what they're looking for, how they operate. What they're looking for determines what we're going to do for them, right?
Okay.
So now that I know, we'll have like a 15-minute discovery call, and I'll request the documents before I meet them. Mm-hmm. So now if I'm requesting the documents before I meet them, I have all the information that they've provided me, and now when I meet them, we're getting down to the real questions. So we're pretty much shortening the gap between time frame and asking different questions at different times. Yeah. So before I would meet them, when I would sit with them, I'd get their application and we'd get, it's a lot to digest.
Right.
So now I would have a call with them, request the documentation, follow up with an email, let them know why we need these docs, book their meeting. Yeah. Prior to booking their meeting, I've already done all the homework with their docs.
Got it.
Now it's like, okay, cool. We verified your income. Here's your credit. What happened here? Why was this credit card paid late? Were you out of town? What happened?
That's
okay.
A tough question.
Right? Yeah. Right? And so that way when they leave, and prior to them leaving, we go over, these are the next steps. Mm-hmm. This is what it's going to look like. This is the approximate time frame. Yeah. These are, later we got to save some money. You can't use all your down payment. You got to put a little bit aside for your closing costs. What are closing costs? So we discuss all that.
Yeah.
But all of that comes with trial and error because I could do it on my own, but I can only help out a certain amount of people per month on my own. Mm-hmm. But if you want to help out, a lot more people, then you have to have a good system, keep it consistent, good flow. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's not even just for us, it's for them. Mm-hmm. Right?
Because listening to some of that stuff, someone may just be overwhelmed.
Yep.
Or like, shit, I didn't pay that credit card. right? Now I can't get a mortgage.
Yeah.
Or, I got cars or something, all right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. And then but that's when we sit down, we ask them all the questions, figure out everything, and then let them ask us everything that they need to ask, so we can kind of get as much of it.
Do you think that someone that hasn't got a mortgage before, do you think they think it's like an uphill battle and this huge mountain versus from how you see it? Or do you think people have a good perspective that that's no big deal, I can get a mortgage? Or do you think their expectation is it's so much easier to get a mortgage? I
think people aren't, I don't know if it's a product, not the process. I think it's the amount. When you factor in the stress test and they're like, we're making 100-ish or 100 something combined, and like, okay, this is based on your debts or any, we'll try to strategize, and there's ways you could do that. We tell them a figure that is what they can qualify for. It's usually a lot less.
Oh.
Yeah.
So their expectations are higher.
Slightly. Sometimes. And some people come in warm or fully, like they've done their homework. Right. They know the range they're in because they've gone online. They punched in their figure. They've had approximate figures of what they can qualify for. Yeah. So we're in that realm anyways, then they get it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit easier, but sometimes they're like, oh, we want to get a detached, but it's like, no, with your income and with the overall situation, we can get into a townhouse at the moment. Like, this is our option. And then that is it could be a little bit of a downer if you're thinking you can buy something for $1 million and now you're buying something for $7 million.
Is there something that average client can do to be able to qualify? Like, is there something they can do ahead of time? They can start doing 6 months before?
It's all case by case, but
what do you typically find? Is it the income and just the stress test, or is it something they can do?
Combination. Sometimes like people have good income and they got the money down there, but now they got like a $800 monthly car payment.
Okay.
And now that's the husband. Now the spouse has a $450 monthly car payment.
Okay.
And then it's like, okay, cool. Now that really eats up into your buying power. Had they known that your monthly credit, revolving credit, or even installments like car payments play a big factor into it, some people would have waited.
Got it.
Right? Sometimes they don't realize that could be it. Sorry. Another thing is depending on your line of work, some people, they'll go from full-time to part-time, but they're still getting the same hours, but they get more flexibility by being able to say no more often.
Okay.
So on their paychecks for the last 3 months or 6 weeks or whatever, or 5 months, the pay structure hasn't changed. The net amount that they're earning hasn't changed, but they could take more time off because now they're not full time. They have more flexibility.
So that makes a difference for qualifying?
Yeah, because if you haven't been there long enough, now anytime you're part time or you're in commission or you're in sales or something like that, or bonuses, you typically need a 2-year history so we can kind of average it out.
That's all commission though.
Yeah.
Or
even salary plus bonus. Or overtime, let's say. Overtime is the other one. So if you have, if someone started a job 8 months ago and they've been working overtime every week, like most people won't touch it. They won't use the overtime income because there hasn't been at least a 2-year track record of that overtime to justify it.
Okay.
Because what if the business is slower next year? Or what if you're,
Yeah. So, and then that person transitioning from full-time to flexible part-time, but still doing, let's say, 40 hours. That has an impact on their mortgage also?
Yeah. It can have an impact on their qualification depending on how long they've been there.
Got it.
Yeah.
Because again, that's not guaranteed.
Yes.
So the bank's looking for, is this person going to be making this money consistently?
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. The lender will look at that. They'll want to know, okay, $30 an hour or $25 an hour, $40 a week. It's like, no, it's 40. And when they call the employer, they'll say, no, it's 40 now, but it's not guaranteed. Yeah. Or yes, and they're like, oh, are they guaranteed? No, but they're doing 40, but it's not guaranteed. No, why is it not guaranteed? Well, sometimes business is slower, so the clients, instead of 40, we adjust them to 32, and then then the lender's gonna be like, oh, we can't use this unless there's something. It's case by case, but I'm just generally speaking. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you find that the car payment and the flexible times that they're doing are the biggest.
Those are the two ones that popped up. Sure. Saving, man, people aren't saving.
Okay.
Like people, myself included.
Sure.
We're fortunate enough to be in a type of business where you can have a big month.
Yeah.
or months, and then feel like, yeah, no problem. All my savings for the year, I'll use my November and December to do that. But if November and December doesn't come, then you're not saving for that. Then it can really mess things up. And in general, I feel like we're all, as a society, we're spending a lot.
Right.
We're not everyone's different, but on average, we spend a lot of money.
So that equates to people putting together a good down payment?
Down payment, yeah.
Because you don't need savings to buy other than the down payment, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And banks not looking at how much you're spending, right?
Nope.
Like they don't care if you eat
No,
McDonald's or
they're not.
steak every day,
No,
right?
they don't care.
Yeah.
As long as you're paying your bills, as long as your income is guaranteed, and you've been consistently paying your bills, there's no bad history of your credit, you're good.
So when you're saying that, so people aren't showing up with the right amount of down payment?
Oh, sometimes like someone's 10 grand short or 12 grand short of their ideal property. And now it's like, we can't borrow from the bank of mom and dad because not every bank of mom and dad has that readily available. Yeah. Or maybe you haven't paid your previous time you borrowed from mom and dad. Sure. Or maybe you shouldn't have yelled at your parents the last time you went over. So there's a lot of factors there. But it just, by having savings, you can, now let's say you're buying a rental, or even if you're buying a home, by having savings, you're not stressed out. Right? You're like, a lot of people, they check all the boxes for the mortgage, but then after that, there's not much left. There's not much left, and it's like, you can see it, you can feel it, that, oh man, like hopefully nothing happens or there's no emergency.
Do you think majority of the clients are stretching to make something work, or are people like, oh yeah, I'm approved for $1 million, I'm only going to buy for $9 million?
People are stretching, a lot of people, but mind you, a lot of them have to because of the stress test. So the way we're qualifying, people are forced to stretch.
Got it.
At the same time, even though I'm a firm believer in buying land, and long term, it makes sense. It always has, it always will. They're not making any more of it. I don't think that you should stretch out fully to do something that over the next 5 or 6 years, like now having to, because you bought something a little bit better than let's say the alternative option, in terms of pricing. Now the next 5 years of your life, you're a little bit more miserable because you're a little bit more on edge because now there's less money here, or now you're making more payments. Now there's less trips, right? So I feel like we have calculators or like spreadsheets for a condo, townhouse, detached home, approximate, you put in different descriptions or whatnot. I was just working on it yesterday. And then there's one thing you can't account for, right? It's like your happiness level.
Okay.
If you're happy living somewhere and you're like, hey man, I want to move into I'd rather move into a townhome. It allows us to have a little bit more leeway. It allows us to, or a condo, allows us to have a little bit more flexibility. We get to travel more. We don't have all that pressure on us. It'll eliminate stress. But my parents, especially if you're Indian, they're like, oh, buy a house or buy that. We'll help you out. But it's going to, you're buying an older home and now it's not as nice as it could have been for a smaller property. And maybe your neighborhood's not good and you're taking a hit in terms of your happiness.
Sure.
Like that needs to be accounted for.
Got it.
Even though I'm a firm believer, buy land and hold, but it's at what cost?
Right. It depends on your lifestyle.
It depends on your lifestyle. It depends on what you want. Because even though, and it depends on your lifestyle. It depends what you do. What were you going to say? If you're like self-employed and you fully stretch yourself out by making an extra $200,000 jump or $100,000 jump or $300,000, depending on it, maybe you borrow some of your parents or family and they're okay with gifting it to you. They'll gift it to you now, then later, it doesn't matter. But you're kind of, you're not going to be able to take those 2 trips with your spouse or kids a year, or 1 trip. You might not be able to go to, your guy's sports trip for the year. You might not be able, if it really cuts into your life, people really have to analyze what they really want and do what's right for them. Because you could buy something that's $300,000 less. Let's say instead of buying a detached, you buy a townhouse, but now you're much happier. Now there's not that much stress. Now, if you're self-employed, you can actually have more of a bandwidth because there's less stress to work on your business, which will be a major factor in what you can buy later.
Yeah.
Sometimes everyone's trying to, like, I feel like some people trying to hit a home run every time.
That's a good point.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you don't have to. Like, if you can, fantastic.
Yeah.
But if you feel yourself stretching because you're trying to, because society, like our friends are buying good, someone's buying this, someone's buying that, and you're like, oh, that's awesome. You're like, yo, we should buy that. But everyone's situation is different, right? Some people have different access to funds, or they're in a different line of work. But if you can, like, sometimes we think what we're going to do now is going to be a big factor 30 years from now. But you got to equate or factor in, like, what's that do to your stress, if it plays in, or your relationship or relationships. Does that mean now that you're buying something detached? I'm just using that example.
Yeah.
And now does that mean you're working more? So you're spending less time with your kids?
Right.
Like, what's important?
Yeah.
What will make you happy?
Do you find people that, do you find that people are...
Some, and I try to say it, but I've mentioned that, hey, it's at what cost? Just because you do this today doesn't mean that's where you're going to be.
Yeah.
If you're, especially if you're self-employed, people are smart. Like, the world changes. Things, we don't know what the world's going to look like in 10 years.
Sure.
Or tomorrow. Like, what if you're not around 10 years from now?
Yeah.
Now you bought something, which is great. Don't get me wrong. Over 30-year amortization, 20-year, it's going to provide you a much higher growth or be worth a lot more than some of the other options.
Okay.
But what if you're not around there? Then those, like, 10 years that you had, you were just in overdrive or working. Not that you should think like that,
Right.
but people really need to factor in happiness into the equation. Right? Like, we hear it, like Gary Vee's loud on talking about happiness, but it's true, man. That's very important.
Do you think some people shouldn't buy a home?
I think if you're borrowing money from multiple sources to squeak into buying a home, and now you're one of the spouses, let's say, for example, the husband works, so Mrs. Wife takes care of the kids, but now the husband's homeless. Not homeless, but at home less now because
sometimes the husband is homeless.
Yeah, sometimes. Husbands can be homeless really quick, especially nowadays. But if that's the cost, then that's on that individual, that couple to figure out.
Okay.
Like, I don't, as an outsider, I don't have all the information or the context to make that decision, but I'm starting to throw that onto the table to discuss.
Right.
Like, hey, you guys good with that? That's cool.
Yeah.
Like, you don't,
Yeah.
And I find it more in our community than any other. Falane ne ki kana, and we've all seen a lot of people make money off land, so we get it.
Right.
But if your wife's going to be choked at you and you're going to have to be working more and you're going to be more miserable
And
for the next 5
house
it's
falling apart. Yeah.
Then factor that in.
Speaking of that, what you were talking about husband and wife and the husband being homeless. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a way to structure things ideally? Like, let's say you're newly wed.
Yeah.
Or you just got married or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Would you structure things differently? Because there's different ways to do mortgages, or I guess what you're on title for, right?
Yeah.
Like if...
like, are we talking about homeless? Like, hey...
Like, let's say things don't work out.
Yeah.
Right? And you guys husband and wife buy a house together.
Yeah.
Is there different ways to structure mortgages? Or is that more of how you... Because I think there's something about a joint tenant or something like that.
Those do apply,
Okay.
but I don't know how far those go for, like, a primary residence of like a husband and wife.
Okay.
Like, your wife doesn't even need to be on title to take half your shit.
Got it.
Yeah, because there's like, and I'm no expert in this, but I know if you have a house on your own, or someone has a house on their own, and their spouse is not on title, and they go through a divorce, that doesn't prevent her from taking your shit.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's like a better or higher law that states, if you know what.
Because I was wondering about
I believe
that.
so. Yeah.
If there's, like, let's say, a wife can buy a property.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You get the first property under the wife's name, second property under your name, or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And you structure things that's beneficial for you.
You can. I mean, your income's going to be less now. Your buying power because of one income, right?
Yeah.
I think that, like, if you're thinking strategy wise, I think, like, when this is just coming off the top of my head, I would think the best strategy would be to talk to your parents up front and find out if that option of bank a mom and dad is available.
Okay.
Because get that now versus later.
Okay.
Right?
They might not be available.
Might not be available. That could be gone somewhere else,
or your spouse beats you to it.
Or your spouse, another sibling takes it, or something happens. But even before, like, I think it comes down to planning properly.
Yeah.
But I think even before that, like, I don't know, it's crazy. I feel like people get married.
Yeah.
Really quickly. Like now, marriage is almost like, and not to, maybe we're just seeing more of it because of the way we download our age and our technology.
Yeah.
But I feel like I just hope that when people are gonna get married or prior to getting married, they have the tough conversations.
Right.
And I don't know if a lot of people are having that because they're tough conversations. Like there's some conversations that, it took me so long to have with my wife. But I was like, okay, that's good. Like, that's smart. And there's some that, no, then because we've been dating for so long, that we've never even had to have. Or it's just good to have to check in. But other people, because they let's say they met their spouse in a certain way, then they almost feel like I have to kind of live that way. Or, I don't know, I just feel like the tough conversation should be had up front.
Right.
Okay, like a lot of times I feel like people don't know what the other spouse's credit is or real income or overall net worth. Yeah. Not to say that it's important, but when you want to jump into buying stuff and that's what the magnifying glass is on, that you better have that conversation up front. Like if you're going to buy a home with someone that you love, you met him or her a year ago, or now you're engaged a year later, which is common now, and then a year later, within 2 years from never knowing them to married, very common.
Sure.
Because of age and all that stuff, and sometimes it's the best, and sometimes it's like, oh shoot, like time went by quick, and they have no idea that you went bankrupt, or not even that you went bankrupt. Let's say you're on title for a home that you're not living in, and now that's going to affect you and your spouse when you want to buy a home.
Right.
And then like those are conversations that you got to have. Just for example, right? I just think that people need to have tougher conversations like, hey, are we okay with our situation? This is what we can qualify for today. Yeah. Let's look at that. Let's see if we can have support from the family. Yeah. No, okay. Or yes, okay. How do we, then what's next? Yeah. I just feel like a lot of, like, instead of, doing a rough draft and then executing it, a lot of times the rough draft and the execution is happening at the same time.
Makes sense.
And then something happens and it's like, oh, shoot.
Do you think couples don't talk about that because they don't know to talk about it, or they're kind of like, oh shit, I got a credit card, or I did have a credit situation in the past and I don't want to talk about that, and they're ashamed of it?
I don't know. I don't know. Everyone's situation's different. Sure. So I am no fucking expert to give any advice on any of that shit because you don't know what anyone's gone through, how they're thinking. Yeah. I think it's a bit of both though, just because if you've done something in the past where you're not that you're, not proud of or something, it's just hard. It's a harder conversation to have.
Right.
But that whole being transparent up front makes it easier for people to get into the housing market later, I think, because...
would it be easier if the second date was with Sim?
Yeah. I'm the waiter. Hey, so what's your credit? Yeah. I don't know. Everyone's goals are different. Like some people are very fortunate. They blend or assimilate right in with the family and there's not too much and it's great and life's good. Yeah. And other people, they may think it's a common one, right? Hey, we'll live with our parents. And when you get married, the wife's like, fuck that.
Sure. That's a big one.
Fuck that.
That's a big one.
It's not her fault. No one grows up thinking I can't wait to move into that guy's parents' house. No one, not anymore. Yeah. Those days are gone. Yeah. So a lot of times the parents don't even know that stuff. Mm-hmm. They're thinking like, and the parents are like, hey man, we've done everything to build this for you, to build nice big homes. Yeah. And then all of a sudden those rooms are vacant. Yeah. And it's not even that there's a reason for it. Right. It's just like, feels more natural. People need their space or whatnot. Yeah. Now the parents are like, dude, we have a $1 million mortgage. Yeah. You're supposed to come in and take over. Yeah. And help out. Yeah. And then the guy is the person that gets overlooked the most. Always in a position where a little bit here, a little bit there.
Oh, you're being pulled different ways?
I think they can. I think in our community, mostly it's because naturally you move there or whatnot. Yeah. So, I don't know. I just think that...
That's critical. Those conversations up front of how life is gonna be. Yeah. Right. And current situation is, the
Yeah.
two of you,
Yeah.
and what options you have. That's very important.
It is. You're considering listing a home that we own. Okay. And now we're talking about potential next moves and stuff.
Yeah.
Even though I already have my mind made up, I would think we need to have those conversations. Because what if it's not the right move? What maybe it's the right move in with my blinders on, that I think, but it might, that needs to be had even to make sure that you're actually evaluating things properly. It's like a business, right? Like you need to have meetings and need to figure shit out to make sure that you're taking the next step together properly.
Yeah. And sometimes there isn't a lot of places to go to get some of this information, right?
Yeah.
Because learning credit and credit cards and payments and things like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a hard lesson.
Yeah.
Right, growing up.
Yep.
Yeah. Like you don't teach you.
No, they give you a credit card and you're like, sweet, and then you're like, what the fuck? I already paid you a couple hundred. Like, no, that was the interest. You're like, what? Yeah.
I remember growing up, they put an overdraft on my debit card.
Wow.
Right, and I had no idea.
Yeah.
What it was, and I remember using it. And I knew my account was like whittling down.
Yeah, you're like, let's test it. Yeah.
I would use it. I'm like, holy shit, it worked.
Oh my God.
Again, go next place, like, holy shit, it worked again. They don't know.
They don't know. Oh my God.
Next thing you know, there's like a small little difference instead of being like $1,500 in the account.
Yeah.
There's a minus sign, right?
Yeah. You're like, what the hell's this? I remember pulling out money from a Visa and I was like, oh, this is cool. And it's like, no, you check the interest rate on that.
Right.
Cash advance?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that was the one that caught me off guard. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Right?
It's crazy.
Yeah, there's like layers to it. But you're right. There's a lot of information, or there's a lot of things that people have questions for.
Yeah.
But that goes back to like us, everyone in the industry. It's our job to share that stuff.
Yeah.
And now the best way to share it is to put it on social, to just create, which if you're doing with the right intention, will long-term should work out for you.
Right. I had a question regarding the car payment thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Does that hinder as you mentioned, that's one of the factors that hinders people from what they can qualify for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What would you recommend in that scenario? Get rid of the car or buy the car? Like, can the person still, let's say you want to buy some nice car, like an Audi or something, right?
Yep.
And it's going to cost you $800,000 a month.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should the person wait to get their, let's say you get your mortgage, you buy a house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then get the vehicle after.
Mm-hmm.
Is that person still going to be able to get that vehicle
after
versus getting it before, and then now it screws up their mortgage qualification?
Most likely, it wouldn't affect you getting the car after.
Really?
As long as you have the initial down payment towards it, your contribution for it.
Yeah.
It won't really affect you.
But if you get it up front, then it's going to affect your mortgage?
And then it's going to affect your mortgage, yeah. And sometimes you may not have the 40 grand or 50 grand or 30 grand or 20 grand that's required up front to pay it off because that was what you were going to use for the down payment.
Okay.
Yeah. There are people or institutions or, car lenders that can not have it shown in your credit report.
That's another option.
Yeah. That's been kind of popular in the last year or two, I think. Yeah. So that always helps. I think you pay a little bit higher.
You do, yeah.
But if you know you're going to buy a home and you know you want the car, why not?
So buy the car after.
I would. I personally would.
Sure.
Because then you can have both.
Yeah.
But if someone is in everyone's thought process is different.
Yeah.
Some people don't even care. Some people don't even care to get a home.
Sure. Yeah.
They're like, screw it, man. Pulling out a nice whip. I'm enjoying my weekends. YOLO.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Sure.
Right?
But talking about the person that does.
But if you want to get both.
Like if you have a heavy car payment or you got two of them.
Yeah.
And now you're going to let us buy a house.
It's going to affect you.
It's going to affect you.
Yeah.
You're better off to go
house
first.
Yeah.
And then get the cars after.
Yeah.
Got it.
For sure. Because there's only a certain percentage of your monthly income that can go towards your mortgage and total debts when you're qualifying.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So not if you make 10 grand a month combined, you can't have a 10 grand a month mortgage payment.
Right. And I think with vehicles, they approve you a lot easier,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like they just kind of go, okay, how much you make.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so. It's been a while since I've gone to the dealership.
Yeah.
But house first and then.
Got it. Okay.
It's just it's better advice because then you can get the house and then you can get the vehicle after.
Mm-hmm. And now you're happy, right?
I hope so. Hey, you can have it all and you got to just be happy, man. Right? So.
No, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else that... Anything you wanted to get out there that I didn't ask you?
No, man. Not that I can think of. I would just, I don't know, like mortgage related wise, I don't really have any tips. I would say if you do want to buy, or thinking of buying, plan. Like plan. Even if, like I have some clients that I'm meeting this month in December, and the goal for them is to buy January 2021.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
A year away.
About a year away.
Okay.
And that's the only way, and that's the best way that they're going to get into their first home.
Right.
And it's awesome because we get to look at things now, make a game plan, and then follow that game plan, and it's smooth. But if you don't plan, you could be caught off guard.
Got it.
And then plus, if you're planning in advance and new changes come or government incentives change or something along those lines, we have you in our database that now will update you or revisit something and keep you in the loop. Mm-hmm. I think it's just better to plan for anything.
So in your perspective, that's not a waste of your time. If somebody goes, Sam, I'm not going to get a mortgage today, but sometimes people feel guilty for wasting some time.
No, that's not time waste. No way.
Okay.
That's all good.
That's better for you.
It's all good, man. It's helping someone that's asking. If someone has questions, that's our job to make sure that we help them.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So number one tip, plan.
Yeah, plan, because it could take longer than you think. Because let's say you want to get into a house and now you're like, oh, wow, we were thinking of buying in 3 months. And then you look at your thing and you're like, oh, wow, we do have 2 car payments. Now it's like, okay, it might take you a little bit longer to plan how to navigate around that if you're, limited on capital. Mm-hmm. Like if bank of mom and dad won't step in, then we're going to have to figure something out.
Cool.
Yeah. There's ways to plan, and sometimes people need to have someone get on title or blah, blah, blah. But there's a lot of strategies you can use, but it's all case by case. So it's hard to give like generic advice other than plan.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Let's wrap it up.
Thank you for having me, hon. I just want to say that. I'm excited. I don't know when people are going to see this.
Never.
Never, right?
We're going to hide it and put it away.
Yeah, put it away. Use it as like collateral or leverage later. Hey, this is what you said. Make a snippet and blackmail. Like the media nowadays.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Like I said, I want to put spotlight on you and who you are as a person. That way, maybe there's somebody out there that can relate, right?
Yeah.
And I think you're so bang on that everything happens based on relationships, right? If somebody likes you and they connect with you and they go, hey, shit, I'm like that too. I was an idiot too, right?
Yeah.
And, you go, hey, this guy can help me out.
For sure.
Right? We don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
But, you got great resources to find all the answers that you need, right?
For sure.
And that different experience sometimes, that's a big impact, right? Because you can go to a bank and get a mortgage, like no big deal.
Yep.
But there's a lot of things behind the scenes, right?
Yeah. And it's fine. Like if you're, you're right. Like if you're going to the bank, you get your stuff taken care of, sweet.
Yeah.
But sometimes, for us as someone in this profession, we want to think long term.
Yeah.
Because sometimes what you think today is the best might, we want to think long term, so at least we're prepared. Mm-hmm. And you're prepared and everyone's kind of on the same page. Yeah. And just kind of gives people peace of mind, I think.
Yeah.
When you've looked at multiple options, you can kind of not have to worry about, oh, did we miss this? Were we aware of that? So, no, we discussed that. We went over that.
Yeah.
So
I know I'm big on that. I want to look at all my options.
Yeah.
Sometimes the first option or second option may be the best one.
Yeah.
But at least you've double checked everything.
For sure.
And then you go back and go, okay, let's do that.
Yeah. Same here. That's how I operate too.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, no, I think I found it valuable. I learned something new. So hopefully it, adds value to somebody that's listening to it, right? That's cool.
Yeah. I hope so too.
Cool. Awesome.
Cool. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
No,
thank you.
Thank you.
So should I turn this on?
You can mute it. Was it off the whole time?
There's a red light on.
Yeah, don't mute it if you...
Okay, so...